31. Sweden woke up on Sunday morning with the single question, prompted by the President of the United States, what happened on Friday night? At a rally on Saturday, Donald Trump defended his travel ban on refugees and 7 Muslim-majority nations by seeming to a non-existent attack in Sweden. You look at what's happening in Germany. You look at what's happening last night in Sweden, he said. Sweden. Who would believe this? Sweden. They took in large numbers. They're having problems like they never thought possible. Sweden's foreign minister promptly tweeted about democracy's opposition to a post-truth world, and the country's embassy asked the State Department what Trump was talking about. Eventually the White House said Trump was referring to general rising crime he had heard about from a segment on Fox News. The president himself, interviewing candidates for a national security advisor from his private club in Palm Beach, eventually tweeted the same. Day 32. Donald Trump has announced Lieutenant Gen. H.R. McMaster as his pick for national security advisor, calling him a man of tremendous talent and tremendous experience. The president made the announcement in the living room at Mar-a-Lago on Monday, where he has been spending the holiday weekend interviewing prospective candidates for the position. Trump had been looking to replace the disgraced Michael Flynn, who was forced to resign last week, after revelations that he had misled the vice president about his calls to Russia's ambassador. McMaster is a reassuring figure to the security establishment that Trump has frequently derided. Day 33. President Trump has laid the groundwork for potentially deporting millions of undocumented immigrants by issuing new guidance that drastically broadens the ways in which federal immigration laws should be enforced. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, unveiled 2 memos on Tuesday detailing wide-ranging directives focused on both interior enforcement and cracking down on security along the U.S.-Mexico border. The memorandums would enable federal authorities to more aggressively detain undocumented immigrants, expand the pool of immigrants prioritized for removal from the country, and restrict asylum claims by migrants. Day 34. Donald Trump is expected to scrap federal guidelines telling U.S. schools to let transgender students use bathrooms and locker rooms matching their gender identity. The decision could reverse a historic directive issued last May by Barack Obama designed to protect the rights of transgender students amid growing confusion and controversy at schools. Instead, individual states would be able to determine their own policies. I've made this clear, and the president's made it clear during the campaign, that he's a firm believer in states' rights and there are certain issues like this that are not best dealt with at the federal level, Press Secretary Sean Spicer told the Daily Press Briefing at White House. Day 35. Steve Bannon, the man seen as the power behind Donald Trump's throne, has declared that the president will take the U.S. back from a corporatist, globalist media that opposes his brand of economic nationalism. Trump is maniacally focused on fulfilling his campaign pledges, Bannon warned, predicting a daily fight against the media he has branded as the opposition party. The mainstream media ought to understand something, all those promises are going to be implemented, Bannon told a gathering of thousands of conservatives near Washington on Thursday, who feted him and White House Chief of Staff, Reince Priebus. Day 36. Donald Trump reveled in his capture of America's conservative movement on Friday with the speech that carried all the anger, nativism and rampant populism of his election campaign. "We are Americans," the U.S. president said to rapturous applause, "and the future belongs to us." Trump told the country's biggest annual gathering of conservative activists that he would crush the Islamic State, deport criminals, crack down on welfare, overhaul healthcare and put minors back to work. He also lashed out again and at length at the dishonest media and promised ominously, "We're going to do something about it." A year ago such a scene was unthinkable at the Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, where Trump gained just 15% in a straw poll of attendees during the Republican primary race. He pulled out of a scheduled speech amid predictions that he would have been booed. Day 37. After a relatively quiet day, not spent at Mar-a-Lago and with only the odd tweet about fantasy crowd sizes or something Herman Cain said about the national debt on Fox, Trump issued a quick 1-2. First he congratulated Tom Perez, newly elected DNC chair, saying, "I could not be happier for him, or for the Republican Party." Then, the big one, Trump tweeted that he would not attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner in Washington in April. The move, which will make Trump the first president not to attend since Ronald Reagan took a 1981 timeout, following an assassination attempt, was the latest shot in an increasingly hot war with the White House press. In response, the White House Correspondents Association cited the dinner's celebration of the First Amendment. Day 38. As Trump prepared to host state governors at a White House dinner, Deputy Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders was sent out to the morning shows. She returned having said the FBI has dismissed reports of an investigation into alleged contact between Trump aides and Russian intelligence sources. It has not. Trump, who started the day with Twitter shots at the DNC, a rigged election, and the New York Times, over a TV ad to run during the Oscars, flexed his thumbs once more. Russia talk is fake news put out by the Dems, and played up by the media, in order to mask the big election defeat and the illegal leaks. The president did not address a Miami Herald interview in which the father of a Navy SEAL killed in a Yemen raid that was approved by the president over dinner demanded an investigation into this stupid mission and said he had refused to meet Trump when his son's body came home. Day 39. Donald Trump will make his first address to Congress on Tuesday, outlining priorities including a big hike in military spending at the expense of foreign aid and environmental programs. On Monday the White House announced he will seek a $54 billion hike in spending on tanks, ships and weapons systems while cutting foreign aid, environmental programs and domestic agencies by the same amount. The U.S. already spends more on the military than the next 8 countries combined. Day 40. Donald Trump promised a new chapter of American greatness in a speech to Congress that sought to reset relations with his opponents, but was swiftly condemned for inaccurate claims and a lack of detail. In a scene that was unthinkable a year ago when the billionaire businessman was a political novice facing much hostility in his own party, Trump gave his first address to senators and members of Congress and received cheers as he attacked Barack Obama's legacy. The tone was arguably Trump's most presidential yet, with the dark vision of American carnage in his inaugural address giving way to an attempt at an optimistic theme of American greatness as the country nears its 250th birthday in 2026. Day 41. A young woman applying for the renewal of her DACA status was arrested and detained by immigration agents in Jackson, Mississippi on Wednesday, shortly after she addressed the press conference in support of undocumented migrants' rights. Daniela Vargas, a 22-year-old who came to the U.S. as a 7-year-old child from Córdoba, Argentina, had told the rally how she dreamed of returning to college and becoming a math teacher, according to her attorneys. Shortly after the event, as she was driven along an interstate highway by a friend, she was pulled over by Immigration and Customs agents, ICE, and arrested, said immigration attorney Nathan Elmore. Vargas had been a recipient of Barack Obama's Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA, program, which allows undocumented migrants relief from deportation and education and work rights. Day 42. Jeff Sessions recused himself from investigations into Russian interference in the 2016 election after a day of drama surrounding 2 meetings he held with the Russian ambassador last year. He announced the move amid mounting calls for his resignation as Attorney General. The Senate Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer, told reporters it would be better for the country if he resigned, while Nancy Pelosi, the Democratic House Minority Leader, went further, insisting Sessions lied under oath during his confirmation hearing before the Senate in January. "Perjury is a crime and there are consequences to it," she said. Some Republicans were also beginning to break ranks, agreeing that Sessions must step back from any involvement in the FBI's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. election. President Trump, visiting the USS Gerald R. Ford, said he had total confidence in Sessions, who he said probably told Congress the truth. Day 43. On a day when the dispute over Jeff Sessions' contacts with the Russian ambassador spiraled into absurdity, the President of the United States of America spent valuable time tweeting a picture of the Senate Minority Leader eating a donut with Vladimir Putin. "We should start an immediate investigation into Schumer and his ties to Russia and Putin," Trump fumed, calling the New York senator to whom he has donated a total hypocrite. In response, Schumer clarified the make of donut involved and offered to discuss contacts with the Russians under oath. On that challenge, answer came there none. But Trump did write, "I hereby demand a second investigation, after Schumer, of House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi for her close ties to Russia, and lying about it." A nation reached for a stiff drink, and a donut. Day 44. In an extraordinary six-tweet read on volley, Trump defended his embattled attorney general and claimed he had just found out Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. The tweets, which included an assertion that this is Nixon, Watergate and that his predecessor was a bad, or sick, guy, prompted a predictable media storm. Trump provided no evidence for his claims and most reporters figured he was referring, obliquely, to reports by The Guardian among others of FISA court rulings on investigations of communications between Trump aides and Russian intelligence, the very investigations which have seen Trump's Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, ensnared in an ongoing press frenzy. A spokesman for Obama said the former president had not ordered any surveillance, but not that surveillance had not happened. Day 45. As Trump fumed in Florida over the loss of momentum gained by his speech to Congress, Press Secretary Sean Spicer demanded a congressional investigation into whether executive branch investigative powers were abused in 2016. In response, former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper said he did not know of a surveillance order concerning Trump Tower from his time in the role, and FBI Director James Comey reportedly asked the Department of Justice to publicly reject Trump's evidence-free claim that Barack Obama ordered wiretaps of his New York base. It was all very House of Cards, leaving many wondering if Trump's own House of Cards was shifting closer to collapse. Elsewhere, senior advisor Kellyanne Conway gave an interview to CBS in which she discussed her frequent run-ins with the press, government ethics and the truth, and said, "I can't let the haters get to me or to the president." Trump ally Roger Stone, meanwhile, said he had a perfectly legal back channel to WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Stone then deleted his tweet.